Okay, there is one component which we need to see. That I will tell you. That's called a cloud log. We haven't discussed that yet.
Yes.
That's the one which we will see today. Okay, let's see this use case. This is a very practical use case, and it's for importing the currency rates into Workday. Okay.
Only for that purpose, Shravan.
Yeah, this requirement. Okay. And here, so I'm giving you the requirement, and then we will see how we did it. Currency rates, you know, right?
Yes.
INR to USD, USD to INR, USD to Euro, and all that. So if say your system is having Workday expenses you are using, or you are using financials, right? So then you do an expense, you travel, right? You say you have a corporate credit card.
Yeah.
If you are in US, you will spend in USD. If you are in France, you'll spend in euros and all that, right? So once you raise an expense report, there needs to be that conversion rate, right? So it's a very common use case that currency rates needs to be imported into Workday. All right. So there are different ways of doing it. One is you manually load them into Workday, right? And when I say manually load, there is a task called currency rate. I think it's maintain currency rates. Currency rate type, historic currency rates as of date. So here you put the date, you put the source currency, right? Say I want to put INR, then you put AUD, and then rate type. So there are different rate types depending on your configuration, right? Current rate. And you click on OK, it gives you what is the rate. Yeah.
Okay.
Now this is already there in the system, but if you have to load it, then you know that these are the values you need. You need the source currency, you need the target currency, you need to know what type of rate, and you need to know the date timestamp when you have to enter and what is the rate.
Okay, so we are loading the rate.
Yeah, that's what I was showing you, how it is visible.
So it's
Currency rate.
already loaded in this system in our case, right?
Yeah.
In GMS.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then is maintain currency conversion rates. This is the task. So this is where you create, like say, I want to create as of date. I want to create it for today, 12 a.m. Calculate inverse and cross rates. What it will do is, if I'm passing AUD to INR and I check this mark, it will automatically calculate the reverse, right?
Okay.
And calculate cross rates is if you have given INR to USD and INR to AUD, it will automatically calculate AUD to USD. All right. So that's called cross rates. So if you can do this, if needed, currency rate type, say it's current, source currency and all that, you will enter, click on OK, and then it will give you the screen to enter. AUD, USD, say this one. Right. So here it is the currency rate. Now you can enter it here, whatever rate you want. Yeah. So this is one manual way of doing it. Other way is by doing an EIB load, right? You create an inbound EIB, populate the template and load it into Workday. But that is also a manual task, right? Meaning somebody needs to populate it on a sheet. The other way, which is via integration, is if say the system, which is the provider, right? If it can provide you a file, which will have all the rates, and the file can be there on an SFTP, or they can share us a URL, an API, which we will call and get the rates. Okay. So this particular requirement is for importing currency rates into Workday from a source called ECB, right? So ECB is a currency rate provider. So if I put currency rates. It's a generic provider, Euro foreign exchange, and it provides exchange rates, right? Similarly, you can have Reuters. There can be different source, Bloomberg, and all those.
Okay.
Depends whatever your company wants. In this requirement, it is ECB, and it's an API based, and the API will give you JSON, right? And then you have to load it. So it's a very simple stuff, right? Call a web service, get the data, and then load it into Workday, right?
Okay.
Now, what will be the web service? How we will know that?
From functional.
No, just go to this Workday Web Services first, right? And then click on operations directory and just search Control F, currency space rate.
Currency space. Okay.
Right, so here it is get beginning balance, no, not needed. Get currency rate types. This is get, meaning you are getting value from Workday, but we want the opposite. So it will be, this is import credit journal, this is put. There it is, import currency conversion rate. Let's try with import underscore currency. Import currency conversion rates, right? So this operation will add or update currency conversion rate. Includes time from and all that. So this is the one which we will use. Yeah.
Okay.
And you will see that there will be a request message. And if you see the request, it will have. So how to do that is you can do the corresponding get and then populate the
Okay.
import. Right. So this comes under financial management 38.1. Yeah. So if you have to try that, you can go to the schema explorer, web service, add latest web service, WSDL, and search here financial. And then I got the requirement that I have to load it into Workday. So then that means I have to find out what web service I need to use to load it into Workday.
Yeah. So you basically need to fetch data from ECP and load it to the Workday tenant.
Correct.
And in order to get the API, you went to that web page.
No. For API, the vendor will provide. That I was just showing you that it is a generic provider.
Okay, so
but the vendor will provide you all the details that this is our API, this is the user. That is the Workday Web Service.
Yeah.
No.
So
I think, Parag, I think this is a public web service, so we don't need any access, and we can directly raise the request and can get the information. Is that correct, Shravan?
No, I am kind of confused. Let me open. So this is this stuff. All authentication, user ID / password, whatever. Vendor will provide you this, right?
Yes.
Once it provides, you will get the data, right? Now, once you have the data, it's similar that instead of file, now it is API. You have got your data into the message. Now you have to load into Workday. Now for loading into Workday, you need to find out what web service to use in Workday. What web service, meaning what Workday web service. So simple thing, always to load data into Workday via Studio, you have to use a web service. And that's where you have to decide what web service I need to use.
That vendor will provide?
It will depend on vendor. It can be CSV, it can be JSON, it can be XML, whatever. Doesn't matter. That is one end, one start. That is easy. The main thing is to find out what web service in Workday we need to use. What is the request that we have to populate? No, it will give you, that's it. URL? What else you need? Yep, it will provide URL, username, password, or whatever authentication it is. He will make sure that you are able to access it. That's it.
And usually vendor provide, like usually we fetch data from the like online resource wherein vendor provide URL, user ID and password, right?
Yeah,
Or
depends if they have APIs, they are capable enough, they do this. Else, it's a file-based stuff. They will put it on SFTP.
right?
Yeah, whatever middleware and all that. And at the end, what we will get is either a file or an API. That's it.
Okay, okay. And we need to figure out the Workday web service that we will use to load
Load the data. Right.
that data into our Workday tenant.
Right. So the thing is, say this is API. Say API has fields X, Y, and Z. Right.
Yeah.
Now, in Workday Web Service, you have field A, B, and C. Okay. You need to now, once you have this, you need to map. Okay. X will be A, Y will be C, and Z will be B. This is your mapping, right? To be very clear, here in Workday Web Service, you have from currency, you have to currency, you have currency rate,
Okay.
you have currency rate type, and you have effective date, that which date this rate is for.
Okay.
Right? This is Workday Web Service parameters. Now, this API might give you the field name as source, target, rate,
Okay.
and date. So now it is up to you. Once you fetch this data, you will store it into your properties, props, right? And then you might now do the mapping. Okay, when I get the source is my from currency, target is my to currency, rate is my current rate, and date is my effective date. So that means I will populate my web service request with this data.
What's currency rate type?
Currency rate type in Workday is like current, average, monthly.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Okay.
that's it's simple. There is anything you do online has maximum of 2 web services. Minimum 1, maximum 2.
Okay.
Okay, and then you fetch that Workday Web Services. You have this your Workday community, which is a very good way of finding stuff. Sorry, not version directory, but operations directory. And here you search whatever is your
We
requirement.
search like currency, how
Yeah,
many fields? Oh,
currency underscore rate. Okay, so you have put currency rate type, and you also have an import. So always, let me give you a thumb rule here, right?
yeah.
For getting data from Workday, get underscore is the web service name. Like get workers, get applicant or something, whatever. There
Okay.
will be a get. To load data into Workday, it will be either put underscore, import underscore, submit underscore.
Okay.
That's it.
So this
These are
is
the
inbound basically.
this is to load data into Workday.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's go into that studio and see how we have done that. So this is the start here. Yeah, the first component for sure. In the advanced tab, this is the integration name. Launch parameter, there is nothing. Services, there is nothing. Okay, so it's a simple start here. After that, we have a local out,
Okay.
right? And local out is calling a local in. How to check that is you do declaration in workspace. It comes here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And after this local out, you have a store step, which is for obviously generating a file. So it's a log file kind of stuff,
Okay.
right? Okay. Now what will happen is flow will start from here. Get, it will go to this one, get ECB, right? Now we have HTTP out component. What is this component used for?
For getting APIs.
For calling external APIs, right? So this is the endpoint. Yeah. And this is an open API. because here you don't have any other step of authentication. Otherwise, you will put a basic
Okay,
path.
okay. Okay, so this endpoint is given to us by client, and get is basically because we are getting information from
Yeah,
that API, so we have written get.
yeah, yeah.
Anything else do we need to mention like in advance or?
Nothing. Unless you
So,
don't need it, you don't have to populate anything. Vendor
okay,
will, so you will have a point of contact from the vendor. Okay. And
okay,
that person will help you in any of your technical query that you have.
okay. And endpoint is given by the vendor, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, yeah,
And then let's see this part of how it will work. I have a postman open up. Let me copy
okay,
this. Right. In this postman, I will put this here.
okay,
Authorization, there is no auth, right? Because there is no
yeah,
authorization here.
yeah,
And headers, there is no header, nothing, no parameter, nothing. And it is get here, right? I can use get,
yeah.
post, whatever, and I'll send. So I got this missing access key. You have not supplied an API access key. So probably there is some API key which is missing, or probably a secret code and all that stuff
Secret
is
code,
missing.
yeah, yeah.
So that will be provided. But this is how you test it in Postman.
Okay,
So you give the URL, you give this type. If it's what type of authorization it is, API key is something here, right? Then you have to provide that. Request has gone out. That's why we have got a proper message.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So that's the stuff. So once you have that, you will get the data. Now this is, so you see the output, we are getting JSON, right? So this is a JSON stuff. What we are doing is we are doing JSON to XML. Yep. After this, what is the output? The message is the XML, right? Now in XML, what we are doing after that, we are doing eval. And in eval, I am storing everything in my props. So I've created props, say base currency. This is the XPath for that. And how you will get this XPath is from the XML, which is coming from the previous step.
Yeah.
Then again, you are populating all other stuff, which is their currency and their rates.
uh,
There's nothing there. It's a
okay.
very
So it
common.
is,
It'll just convert it into XML. That's it.
and
Log is printing a message.
and
That's it.
okay, and like
This is Postman will tell you. This is a JSON. So if it is giving error in JSON, it will give success also in JSON.
okay, okay, okay,
Yeah. So yeah. So this is what this is a. That's what I'm saying. This is as per the requirement. I can do it this way. You can do it some other way. So this is just a use case which I'm showing you that the person has done it this way.
so
Yes, that's what how he has done. After that, you will
okay,
know what the XML is, and then you will populate your variables. Now,
okay,
after this, again, there is what he has done is he's just checking whether the properties are fetching right data. Then you have a write step, right? Now, write step is doing what? It is populating the web service. Right. So part 0 is, so whenever there is an XML coming, right, and you want to fetch a specific portion of it, this is the syntax you need to give in the eval expression. Part 0 dot XPath. So part 0 meaning whatever message is coming, it's an XML. Go to this XPath and get that value. So it's just a
so
syntax, only 0. That's it.
okay,
That's how it is. Right.
okay,
So
okay,
if I go here, where is it? I just clicked on a plus, right? So PROP control space is equal to just write part and control space. It will always give you 0 and then
okay,
dot
okay,
X. Okay. So now you have your variables. All these are
yeah,
your properties. Whenever there is a log, you don't have to put any brain there. Log is just printing whatever a user wants to print. It is of no use, no functionality.
okay, okay,
You can print whatever you want.
okay,
So if I get this studio and if I just, without seeing anything, I just delete this, I just delete this log and I deploy it, there will be no impact on this, not at all.
Yeah. Log is for us, right? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after eval, you have all your variables populated, right? Now what you have to do is, now you have got the message, you have your variables populated. Now you have to load data into Workday. Yeah. Using what? Web service. So Workday Outsource, you have financial management and you have the version, which you will get it from that online web services page.
Okay.
Now you have a request message. Yeah. So you have a write step in this. This is the request message. Yeah. Now to populate this, right, we have done hard coding. Yeah. If you remember before. But now what we are doing is, in order to remove that hard coding, these variables, whatever we have populated, right?
Okay.
Same thing, we will put it there, that instead of giving a direct value, we are asking the right step that, okay, take the value from that variable. And the syntax for it is the same, what you use in a log, right? At the rate, and then this curly brackets, and put your variable. So now what will happen is this currency ID will be the value. It will fetch it from this property.
Okay.
Right? So similarly, all the variables. So here, if you see, the only hard coding is this one, currency rate type, because we know that while populating rate type is a Workday thing. You will not get it from that API because it is something which is configured in Workday, like current, average, monthly, and all that stuff, right? So this is something you can hard code. But all others, you can populate, and that's it. So once that is done, your web service will be called, and it will, this one?
No, the right one, the previous one. Async mediation rate, yeah. This, you got it from there, right?
Schema Explorer. Schema Explorer, go there.
Okay.
Right? And you know your web service. Populate it, try it there first in the tester. Once it is done, then go there. And instead of hard coding, put the variables. That's it.
Like, can you show it once, please?
What web service we did last time? You remember?
Yeah,
Yes,
get worker.
Get worker by ID and.
Right. So say here, I have to do a similar
Import
stuff.
Currency, right?
Right. Let me do first get currency conversion rate, right? So I'll do a get first. Okay, web service builder, get all currency rate.
So
next.
We are using get currency or import currency in our case.
So I told you the thumb rule. If you have to populate the import, first get it. First do the get. You will know the response. Similar stuff, you will use it while doing the import.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So this is this one. I will run it and I'll get my response.
Yes.
Let's see. Why is it taking that? Okay. So we got it. Right?
Okay.
Now I'll go to the import one. MNOP. I import currency conversion rate.
Okay.
Open Sopra. So here it is, right? Now here it is the currency ID, right? Crons rate, anchor currency. Then you have the currency conversion rate data, which is the effective date. But here it is very simple. You have to just populate whatever you want.
Okay.
Right? So, you know, what's the currency ID? USD. This currency ID. Again, so this is the anchor currency. Anchor currency is, say you are doing USD to INR and USD to AUD. So USD is your anchor currency.
Yeah.
That one.
So our basic currency. Like.
Right. And this one is USD. So this one is INR. And this one is, say, current. and then you have the rate type, and you have, this is the date. So that's it. This is pretty much it, right? Now, in an import, you can have multiple these rates. So this is one rate, right? Where you are populating USD to INR. Similarly, you will have USD to EUR, right? So in that case, this part, which is
We just need to copy paste.
copy paste, exactly. And that is what is happening in this right step here. So if you see here,
Okay.
you have import currency rate, calculate, and it is true. After that, let me make it, copy this and open it in an XML file. Then it will be good. So if you see, this is all repeating.
Yeah.
Right. So this part is 1. This is 2.
Okay.
Right? This is 1 and this is 2. Only thing is at the top, this calculate cross inverse is same. Rest all is the repeating stuff in this particular case. Yeah. Okay. Now in the web service tester, I can try this out. I can load it right away and it is loaded. So this is the vid. So vid is Workday ID. If I go to my tenant and just type that vid by saying WID colon control V. So it is completed. This is the rate load and it is just loaded.
So
this was a particular, this is based on the response that we are getting from there, right? In that case, so that's what I'm saying. You forget about it. We will not hard code it. This hard coding is done because of a very particular use case, because the data which they send, the currency is there as the tag name and all that. So that's why it was hard coded, but ideally it will not be.
Yeah. So for example, CZK, AUD, we have created properties for this, right? But if you look at the code, we have hard coded.
Right. So this is the rate. So this props AUD will store the rate. It is not storing AUD. It is storing the rate.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the thing. But this is a very particular use case. Ideally, it should not be the case.
Yeah.
Okay. Now after this, what we are getting, Workday Outsoap, we are getting the vid, right? You saw that the output is a vid, right?
Yeah.
And it is again an XML, right? So what we are doing after the Workday Outsoap is, we know output of Workday Outsoap will be what? Will be this XML. Yeah?
Yes.
So then after that, what we are doing is we are fetching that vid into a property, right? And this one is nothing but the XPath of this. Yeah. Envelope / body / this / that and all that stuff, right? Once it is there, after what we are doing is, this is a cloud log. Cloud log is a component which populates a variable which you can then give an input to the store, right? So this cloud log, if you see, output file type, you can choose. By default, it is HTML, but you can choose it to be CSV or Excel, right? And level. So what it does is, you can use this component multiple times, and here is the name of this variable, right?
Okay.
Let me tell you here, programmatically, right? Delete. So suppose you have multiple components like this connected. Yeah. Okay. Now you are doing some processing here, right? There are multiple sub-components here, right? At eval, XML to CSV and whatever stuff there. Yeah. Then you also have a, if you remember, a send error, right? That in case there is an error, send the flow to another stuff. Yeah, like
Yeah.
this one. So if it is an error in this one, it should go to this put integration message, something like that, right? Now say put integration message, what it does, put integration message puts the message on the integration event. Yeah, you see completed with error, you see success, and then you see the numbers there. 3 errors, it will give you 3, a hyperlink, and you can see the message, right?
Okay.
But say the requirement is, if you say you're processing the rows and you get error, you get success, say there are 100 rows, 50 are success, 50 are error. You don't want to show 100 messages on the event. What you want to show is a one file having details of all each row, whether it's a success or a failure, success or a failure. Yeah.
Yeah.
In that case, what you do is you use this cloud log, and this component you put it everywhere. Say once it is, anytime there is an error, you put a cloud log and populate it with the message and the message detail. And it keeps on appending. So say there is a one cloud log here in the beginning, one cloud log in the middle, one cloud log in the end. Whenever there is an error, if it is the flow is going to cloud log, it will keep on storing, keep on appending the messages. And in the end, in the store step, you will give the name of that cloud log, right? So instead of message here, you give the variable, and this variable name is the name of this cloud log, which if you don't give it, by default, it is cloud-log-content. The only condition is all the cloud logs should be using the same variable name, right? So it's like variable X, and you are not replacing the value in it, you are just adding value to it. So say initially it was 1, then you added 2, then you added 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there will be so many lines. And once you put it, give it as an input to store step, it generates that full file with all the things that you have added on it, right? We will see more use cases of this, but forget about this as of now. But from this, a very simple use case, are you guys able to connect to it, that how it is done, how the different components are clubbed together?
Connect.
I'm
Okay.
fine with
And
it because we will do the cloud log again in detail, but this is just to show. Yes, Parag.
cloud.
The message plus you can put your extra columns here,
Okay.
in the
So,
sense we will do a practical use case of cloud
so
log, then it will
like,
be
what
clear.
is it?
Put integration message doesn't create a file. Cloud log is used to generate a file with all that stuff, either HTML, CSV, or XML, Excel. But put integration message, when you run the event, on the event itself, it shows the errors.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't generate a file.
Okay. Okay.
Cloud log is like a store component which stores all the errors.
Errors,
Isn't
success, or whatever you want to store, it will keep on adding. In the end, you give this as an input to store step, and then it will
Okay.
generate that file. Yep, just remember this. We will do a use case, then it'll be
Okay.
more clear.
okay, okay, sir.
Yep. Okay, fine. So this is one use case. This is a very practical use case. Okay, now I will give you an assignment.
Okay.
We did this as
The
a
class
API one, right?
Yeah.
What I want you guys to do is to do a file-based integration, right? So create a studio integration, and this one will take, I think you will not be able to do it in one day. It will take time, but I will say you do it. Keep
Okay.
on doing it until you finish, right? Create a for loading applicants into Workday. right? And let me see, what's the web service? Put underscore applicant. This is the one. Adds a new pre-hire. Okay. Yep. Pre-hire. Do you know how to create a pre-hire?
Yeah.
Yes.
How do we do that?
Create pre-hire.
Is it that simple? Do we have a task like that? No.
Actually, while hiring,
It automatically comes, right? That's fine. So what I will do is there is this put applicant and you also have a get applicant. Yeah. So you do the get applicants first and then you do the, let me see where it is. It is recruiting and staffing, right? It comes under both recruiting and staffing. Let's do the recruiting. Okay. Add Wisdle and I will say recruiting. Okay. Get applicants, open web service wizard, get applicant, get all applicants. Next, I want only the 5 of them. Personal information, next, finish. I get this, I will run it and let's see, there is not authorized. So whenever you see this kind of request or response, right, from Workday Web
Yeah.
Service, that means your user, whatever you are using, doesn't have the
Access.
access for
Okay.
doing this operation. Okay.
Okay.
But you will have it because you are HR people, right? Your tenant is HR. My tenant, which I'm using, is not the HCM tenant. So that's why. But it's a very fair, very simple stuff. But put applicant is this one. Open soap wrap request in this one. So this is a very big XML, right? You don't have to populate one. And I think if you have created a pre-hire, I think I have already, right? For creating a pre-hire, what do you need? You need just the name, first name, last name, and one contact detail. It can be an email, right? So for this one, applicant ID will be created by Workday. So you can delete this part. Correct. That's what you have to do. That's what I was showing you. Like this preferred name data is not needed. So you can delete the full preferred name. You can delete the additional name as well. But make sure you have the right tags, right? The name data is the top one. So don't delete that. So while deleting data, you have to be careful that you are not deleting the tags, the parent and the child and all that, right? So you delete that part.
Okay.
Now, first thing, but yeah, that's the end case. But say, for loading applicants into Workday, it will be a file-based integration. Input file will be a CSV having the following format. Okay, so let's say applicant ID, I will not give, right?
Name.
Right, say first name, comma, last name, comma, and let me see, where is that? What else do we have? We have first name, last name, and it's in administrator. Let me miss it. Nothing. You give birth date, city.
I think application date or something like that.
Right. Say the the date, right? And then you say the date of birth probably, and then last is the email, right? So this is home email. And then this is the one you populate your stuff, right? Say what Tom Cruise date is, today's date, hyphen, but give just 3-4 rows, right? So this will be your input file. Create a text file with this content, save it. Yeah. Now you will not have SFTP, right? So what I will suggest is you put it, while doing it, create a write step.
Yes.
Yep. Like this one, you have a write step here. In the write step, show property view.
Text.
Either you can do this text, but I'll say don't do that. You do a file. You have here, where is this? Static file. Okay. In the static file, when you come here, open a file. This is browse for file, right? So when you click on this, you can upload it from your desktop and it will get stored here.
Okay, great. Right.
Yep. So use that. After that, you put, okay, so first do this, then check file is not empty, or we will do that later. First step is this, convert it into XML and then use a splitter to split it by each record. So, and generate, as of now, let's do this, generate multiple XML files. This is your first step to do. So what I am asking here is, you will have this file, have it in the store step. What you have to do is, after that, read it. Yeah, it will come in your message, convert it into XML, use a splitter to split it, and after that use a store step, so that if there are 3 rows, it will generate 3 files. Yeah. No, last step is very simple. You have a splitter. After splitter, just put a store step. That's it. You're done.
Then in the single file, it will store the all, isn't it?
No, so my requirement is multiple file. You get one file and it gets converted into multiple files by each record.
Okay.
So say
Since
in
we are
the
not
file.
okay, got it. Since we are not aggregating, it creates a separate file for each and every record.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do this and we will keep on enhancing this with all the concepts that we have done so far.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Schema Explorer, go to this one, add latest web service, click on WSDL and then search for it. You have the first one as recruiting. Well, depends. Again, it can be anything. But yeah, leave it as of now.
Okay, it's recruiting. Okay,
Yeah.
I was typing something else.
Take a screenshot of this and do this.
Okay. Just a second.
Now I have a couple of doubts.
Yeah.
While we are creating a web service request for currency, we are getting the information from the vendor, and it has like USD, INR, and some yen and some extra currencies. But there I couldn't find some other currency, like example XYZ currency, in that whistle or request.
Right.
Then how do I make use of how should I put that into my integration?
No, you cannot do it. It has to be there in the source. Their API should provide that. You will not do it on your own. There's no stuff. Rates cannot be manipulated. Whatever is coming, you will load that. That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is fine.
Yes.
Okay, then let's do this, and then we will add on to this tomorrow. So what I'm doing is, rather than giving you one big requirement, I'm splitting it into multiple parts. So this is the
Okay.
first part of reading files and splitting the file.
Okay. Okay.
After that, we will do the loading it into Workday. Then we will add more enhancement to it, that okay, rather than this is fine. Also, let's have launch parameter, where the user will select a date and you have to use that date as, say, the effective date or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, we will do it step by step, but let's first do this.